for those who don't already know, it's your boy Hunter, community managing over here at Off-Chain Labs, also known as Arbitrum. And today we are speaking with none other than Radiant, Radiant Capital specifically. And we have Aaron and Isaac, the PR manager and director of communications and project management, respectfully. Or is that the word, respectfully? Aaron obviously being the PR manager and Isaac being the director of communications and project management. Thanks for joining us today, guys. We're really, really excited to talk about Radiant.
Thanks a lot, Hunter, for having us here. We are pumped. We are thrilled to be joining this AMA with you today.
Yeah, I mean, and I think even before getting into it, just for some background for some people who don't know, Radiant's been on Arbitrum for quite a bit, and I feel like out of any project that's deployed, I feel like you guys probably made the biggest splash I've ever seen. And when I say that, I mean, for those of you who remember, I think you guys shot up to top 2 in TVL within a week.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. Thanks, Hunter. Yeah, for
that. Funny enough, I think we did have an AMA quite some time ago. It was text based, and I know that it was a really exciting time. It's always an exciting time, frankly. But I'm just happy that we're having a more formal one, and obviously sometime down the line where everything's matured, you guys have built up a community, and yeah, I'm sure we're going to be talking about a lot of fun stuff today. But before we get into the Radiant stuff, I think maybe it makes a little bit of sense to maybe talk about some of your backgrounds, if possible. Maybe what you guys do at Radiant, and essentially why you kind of what your ambition is for working for Radiant or the DAO.
Excellent. Our pleasure, Hunter. Aaron, do you wanna get started with this?
Yeah, certainly. So yeah, a little bit of my background. I first found myself in the crypto space with online poker. So 10 plus years ago, that's where I came across Bitcoin. But I largely kind of lost track of the crypto space until decentralized finance came along. And I've just been really interested in following Ethereum, how Ethereum is scaling. So that's really driven my interest towards looking at these different scaling solutions like Arbitrum. So I've been a user in Arbitrum and saw the launch of Radiant. So I was excited to reach out to the team to actually get involved in this protocol. And yeah, I'm serving as the PR manager, doing AMAs like this. We have a podcast scheduled and other types of content creation. So yeah, thanks, and happy to be here.
Isaac, you can pick up if you want.
So, Hunter, it's a pleasure to be joining this AMA today with all the Arbitrum team. And for myself, I come from an engineering background. I started working some years ago in Formula One in the UK, and I've always loved to work in disruptive technology. I started lecturing also when I was quite young, so I love the communication side, so sharing technology with people, in this case with our community. And ever since 2021, when all the NFT hype started and DeFi back in 2020, I started seeing that blockchain could be the most disruptive new technology that I would experience maybe in the rest of my life. So I wanted to jump onto it, and I was really thrilled to start working for Radiant some time ago. As you said, regarding the results in Arbitrum, pretty impressive in the very first days and weeks in terms of TVL, active users, new users, and so on. And I guess that I've been especially attracted by DeFi for the DeFi values in general too. So the fact that there are no frontiers, banking the unbanked, democratization and decentralization. So I guess I'm also a bit of the idealistic kind, Hunter.
I love that. We come for the for all that the space promises, and we stay for the ethos. Totally, that's awesome. By the way, very very creative backgrounds you guys have. I don't think I can match that, so I'm not even going to try. I think I'm sure there's many different ways we can go about this, but maybe we can start off with just generally, maybe giving us an intro to what Radiant is, and maybe some unique aspects of the protocol that it has.
Yeah, I can start with this one. So Radiant Capital is a lending and borrowing protocol launched on Arbitrum. So you can do lending, borrowing, looping, and bridging assets. And there's really three unique aspects that I'd like to highlight in regards to the protocol. So the first being that this is a cross-chain protocol built atop layer 0, currently leveraging Stargate's stable router interface. So this basically means that you can deposit an asset on Arbitrum and then borrow various assets either on Arbitrum or on different chains. So say I wanted to take advantage of some type of opportunity on Polygon, I could deposit Ethereum on Arbitrum, and then with one click, I could borrow some type of stable coin on Polygon. So this is nice because usually you would have to borrow that asset on the Arbitrum chain and then bridge that asset over to Polygon, whereas we're kind of seamlessly making that process easier and more user-friendly. Second, this is a protocol where lockers of our native token, RDNT, are actually going to earn a share of the protocol revenue. This is from borrowers paying interest on their loans, and the actual revenue comes in Ethereum, wrapped Bitcoin, and stablecoins. So there are very few DeFi projects they're actually rewarding holders with hard assets like this. And in addition, people that are locking their Radiant tokens will receive penalty fees from any users that exit early from their vesting Radiant. And lastly, there is a Radiant DAO. So that's an additional measure of utility, and the DAO is really going to lead the future direction of the protocol.
Yes, I love this. I have two questions, but I think I'm going to go into the first one here, where it's you mentioned obviously Radiant is this Omnichain protocol, like you said, built on top of layer 0. Is there like what was like the methodology behind making the borrowing component specifically on Arbitrum versus any other chain, considering you guys are, multi-chain?
Yeah, certainly. So the team really thinks that Ethereum is one of the most safe and secure ways to build a DeFi protocol. So launching on an Ethereum-like chain, which Arbitrum has the safety and security of Ethereum, but at the same time it allows users with less capital to make transactions on the protocol. Just because mainnet transactions can be quite expensive, whereas Arbitrum is really doing a great job, especially with Nitro, on having pretty low cost transactions. So it's not just really large whales that would be interested in the protocol.
Just so you know, that wasn't me fishing for compliments. I was truly just wondering. No, but it's really interesting because I think like it's. I mean, okay, I think we can all agree that it is a multi-chain, cross-chain future. I think that those words can be used interchangeably. I think, but I guess like having that one source of truth, like you were mentioning, I guess you want to make sure you have that kind of extra layer of security if you're storing all of that kind of collateral on a specific chain. Like it's am I understanding that correctly? Like you want to make sure wherever the collateral is stored is as safe as possible, essentially.
Yes, definitely.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. And then I think additionally on the DAO front, uh, just for some clarity, so you and Isaac are part of the Radiant team, yes? Not technically part of the DAO, or am I getting that mixed up?
Well, we are here to serve the community. So we basically the team would be like the execution arm of the DAO, and given that we are set up as a DAO and the community is basically the owner of the governance, those who vote in the direction of the protocol, they are in charge of voting, as I said, on any proposal that they want to send to the community for the community to vote. Specifically, people who are in the community have to have locked Radiant tokens to have voting power, of course. And these Radiant holders can vote and create proposals for protocol changes, for example, deciding on future assets to be added to the money markets apart from the assets that we currently support. And by the way, Discourse is coming soon to be a more structured, easy, seamless platform to carry out this chats, forums, and the proposal. The process of sending the proposals, having the proposals open to the community for some days, then voted by the community, and so on. And on a more high level, the Radiant DAO asserts that the network's governance, development, or usage is not centralized, and we want to progressively get more decentralized, of course, as the number of Radiant token holders grows. So that's basically on a very high level the Radiant DAO in a nutshell, Hunter.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I think I appreciate the clarity there. It's and I think it's definitely an important topic. And funny enough, I think actually this entire week we've actually been kind of going back and forth with different projects on their stance behind the DAO and like kind of what role that plays for, in terms of like kind of advancing the protocol versus making sure that everyone has a say in like what happens. And I guess I'd love to hear kind of y'all's perspective because obviously the Radiant DAO has been around for a little bit now, I assume. But like, do you guys find that the like things are still able to be executed in like a timely manner, considering that this decision making isn't just the team now; it's like the whole community, and obviously input wants to be taken from as many places as possible.
Well, of course, it will be challenging in the months to come as the number of Radiant token holders grow. But that's why we are putting all the discourse in place, setting up everything to make sure that it's as seamless as possible. First, the proposals get presented in discourse, and then they get voted via snapshot. And that's a way of having an on-chain, free of gas voting scheme, and that makes the process very seamless. It's in our docs section. It's a very structured process, and we think it's very clear, very easy for anyone who wants to comment on any proposal to comment on that proposal. So that people have a clear idea, you only need one Radiant token to be able to comment. You need 2,500 Radiant tokens to be able to submit a proposal. So it's open to the vast majority of the community, and as long as they are, of course, proving that they are loyal to the protocol in the sense that they have Radiant tokens. So we think it's a challenge. Of course, it's a new way of organizing a company. But I think that the advantages by far outweigh the challenges in the sense that the community has the say. It's the wisdom of the community. It's being able to use all that collective intelligence for the sake of the protocol, and to be able to have more people proposing ideas in a structured manner, having the community vote them. And of course, I think that will be much, much better to the whole benefit of the protocol in the future. I'm convinced that the wisdom of the community, of the crowd, is far better than any single expert would know. So I'm really confident that this will work very well for us.
Totally agree, by the way. Yeah, I think it's just, it's kind of funny actually. I think almost every team I've asked so far, like they've actually said that, like even from the jump, like things have actually been pretty efficient, even with the DAO. So I always like to ask that question just in case, just to get more thoughts. But I totally agree. I think maybe something that we were going to talk about in this space too was the new Radiant V2. Can you maybe give like a high level overview of what's coming with Radiant V2 versus what's already out there?
Yeah, so I know this is something that the community is very excited to hear about, and so is the team. So we really think that V2 is going to usher in what we're referring to as DeFi 3.0. So positive P&Ls can result in sustainable real yields. We really don't want any more free lunches as far as farm tokens that are farmed to zero. A lot of those farm type projects will eventually die, whereas Radiant is much more focused on sustainability. And in that context, we believe that we're introducing a new DeFi primitive with what we're calling dynamic liquidity. So I can't share exact specific details quite yet, as we're in beta testing and running this by some of our advisors. But at a high level, no more free lunch. If you want to earn Radiant emissions, you'll need to actually provide value to the protocol. And also say that anyone can still use our, let's just say, X-chain functionality, meaning a random user can quickly deposit, let's say, wrap Bitcoin on Arbitrum and borrow USDC on AVAX. Say they're aping into a new NFT there. However, we're asking, like, why should we reward them in Radiant? And just like in TradFi, that person should be paying interest. Meanwhile, they're having a much more seamless experience than on any other money market in existence. So this is with the ability to borrow stables against the X-chain collateral within minutes. And now, if that same individual wanted to actually earn Radiant tokens while engaging in this hypothetical X-chain degenning, he would need to provide value to us. So again, I can't provide exact specifics, but we're extremely proud of the system we've created and believe it's going to fall within the sustainable yield narrative that everyone is talking about in regards to DeFi 3.0. And lastly, our goal is to have the smart contracts submitted to our auditors by the end of next week. And we are going to publish a Medium article soon with many more details surrounding Radiant V2.
Exciting stuff. If you don't mind, I'd love to maybe even hear some of your thoughts on like the current kind of you could say like the current state of like I guess like the real yield movement that we've been seeing. Like because I'd argue that Radiant has been a big part of it. Frankly, I mean like I think the yields on Radiant currently are pretty insane. Don't get me wrong, like a lot of them are token emissions, but it's still pretty insane yields. But yeah, I'd love to hear like some more of your thoughts on that movement.
Yeah, so a lot of DeFi projects over the past few years have focused more on the utility of governance. So the token allows people in the community that hold that token or lock that token to vote on the direction of the protocol. And I'm not saying that that's not valuable, and we think that there is utility in voting on the direction of Radiant in the future. But it's also important that a lot of these protocols are earning revenue, and to not share that with the actual community or the people that are most interested in the longevity of the protocol based on their actions, which in this case would be actually using the protocol to some extent. So we think that real yield is going to bring this new DeFi 3.0, and I think Arbitrum is really a great place to see as an example of how this can succeed. So we're very proud of Radiant, but are also acknowledging other protocols, things like GMX within Arbitrum that are also leading that real yield movement.
It's so funny because like I honestly don't even. But to be clear, we didn't come up with that movement on our own. Like I think that I want to say it was like kind of Umami and like someone they partnered with that came up with that term. But I just remember all of a sudden seeing that all over my timeline one day, and I'm like, okay, I can rock with this. It's all the community.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I feel like crypto Twitter has really blown up the real yield over the past few months, but it's certainly a narrative that we're behind.
So I guess like on the back of I guess this movement and even just other projects, like what current working relationships do you guys have with ecosystem partners? And if you can, you don't need to. Are there any others planned?
Yep. So Radiant has a working relationship with Layer Zero Labs. So they have played a really great role in actually peer reviewing some of Radiant smart contracts, ensuring we have the highest levels of security and also interoperability. And I'm not the most technically savvy, but those bridges are built on the delta algorithm of layer 0. So this conducts native asset transfers through unified pools of liquidity while achieving instant guaranteed finality, the combination of which enables cross-chain composability. And this flexibility afforded by that delta algorithm creates the opportunity to improve many existing applications, such as decentralized lending protocols like Radiant. And this is taking advantage of single transaction cross-chain swapping of native assets across a vast network of chains. Next, I'll say that Radiant Capital also has a working relation with the Chainlink team to ensure the highest level of security on the Oracle price feeds. So this is incredibly important for both deposits and borrows to make sure that accurate prices reflect the health factor for an individual user. And Chainlink also enables dApps to reliably connect to any external API. So we're leveraging secure off-chain computation to unlock even more advanced use cases. And Radiant utilizes high-quality data from Chainlink price feeds to help secure its money market. And one other exciting thing in the pipeline is that wrap stake ETH will be an additional asset that Radiant is looking to add. So we have a working relationship with Lido in order to make that happen.
I'm curious, at least on the like the Oracle front. Is there like I mean, I guess maybe this is like an obvious question, but like are like really accurate price feeds, and I guess depending on the chain depending on the chain that I guess that you're on, dependent on, or is new tokens are new token listings dependent on those price feeds that Chainlink provides? Um, and if so, like I guess I'm just wondering like how does a project get their token listed on Radiant? Because I think I've noticed like you guys have like the big ones, obviously, like the stables, the ETH, the BTCs. But is that maybe anywhere on that kind of roadmap anywhere? Maybe I'm fishing for too much alpha. By the way, you can tell me to shut up if you want.
Yeah, sure. I can touch on that. I'll say that the team is very concerned with security first. So adding additional assets, we just have to make sure that that's something that we can, one, have a reliable Oracle price feed and is not an asset that can be overly manipulated. So I know just yesterday there was an issue with Curve, that token. So making sure that we're really using the blue chip assets. So right now that's ETH, wrap, Bitcoin, and a various pool of stable coins. So it's something that the DAO can certainly vote on in the future, but I just wanted to kind of give some of our hesitancies as far as adding additional assets as deposit collateral.
No, that makes total sense. And I guess if I may ask like a follow up there, like does that apply with like I guess like does an asset need to have that like that sufficient kind of liquidity slash kind of like Oracle there on every chain because it's Omnichain, or is it like does it only have to be, I guess, on Arbitrum since it's like the source of truth?
Sorry, can you repeat that one?
Yeah. Apologies. I guess what I'm saying is like, and if it doesn't make sense, you can let me know. But like, does that need to apply to every chain? So, for example, like ETH is obviously there. Does there need to be like a highly liquid ETH market slash Oracle on every chain that ETH is available to be kind of borrowed from or borrowed against? I guess is the word I'm looking for, or does it only have to be on like Arbitrum because it's the source of all truth technically?
Yeah, I would need to double check this one with the team. Um, I do think that the same security concerns apply to other chains. But yeah, that's something that the DAO will decide as we move to these various chains. And Chainlink aggregates price feeds from multiple different chains, central exchanges, dexes. So it doesn't necessarily have to be on all chains.
That makes sense.
Besides the specific, if you want to offer more details to any of the listeners on the specific Chainlink Oracle requirements, basically they want to ensure that the assets have a certain data availability, and basically that means being listed on 3 approved exchanges, either centralized and decentralized. The distributed liquidity means that they cannot have more than 70% of the liquidity in one single exchange. The daily trading volume has to be over 2 million for the last 30 days. And the percentage of total exchange volume in the requested denomination has to be over 40%. Those are the general guidelines that Chainlink requires for an adequate price feed.
Oh wow, look at that! I mean, I had no idea actually. That's I mean, it's not really alpha, but I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
So like, I guess I mean, honestly, on that same topic of like making sure that things are as secure as possible, and I guess minimizing any potential kind of protocol related risks. Like, what else do you guys kind of do to kind of make sure that I guess everything is as secure as possible?
Well, Hunter, we all know that of course security and minimizing the risk of exploits is a big challenge in any technology, and in blockchain and crypto and DeFi also. Basically, what Radiant leverages is the Aave and Layer Zero code bases. Both of them have spent millions in audits, and they have never been exploited, as far as we know. In addition to our own Radiant audits, the protocol leverages Stargate's stable router interface, which has never been exploited. And Stargate and Layer Zero Labs combined spent over $1 million on audits to ensure the security of the bridges. We ourselves, as a protocol, have been audited by both PeckShield and Solidity Finance. We are very proud to say that our smart contract logic has no critical major vulnerabilities that have been found by either firm. And also, our smart contracts are peer reviewed, for example, by Layer Zero, as Aaron was mentioning before. Regarding V2, our next version for Radiant coming soon, we will use Forta locally on our host network for real-time threat detection. Forta is also used, for example, by Lido, Balancer, Maker, and other top protocols elsewhere. This chosen security architecture also results for us in negligible increases in finality times and fees for the end user. And this security-first architecture, we hope, will make Radiant one of the most secure decentralized money markets that has ever been created. For example, once Radiant V2 smart contracts have been audited, we will additionally work with Immunify to post bug bounties, adding an additional security layer going forward, such as MakerDAO, for example, and other big names have done too. And Radiant will be updating the Gnosis multi-signature wallet from 2.3 to 3.5 in terms of people having to sign to be able to access the wallet. That's part of the additional party signers that we are going to announce publicly shortly, which will be joining the Radiant project in V2. That's regarding safety, of course, and security, which is a big issue in DeFi in general, and for us in Radiant.
Well, I guess it's safe to say that you guys are doing all that you can to make sure everything is safe. That's definitely a lot.
Absolutely, we're always trying. We can never ensure, of course, 100%, but we are trying the best that we can.
No, yeah, totally, and I think even just to kind of to build off that, I mention all the time that even internally, our goal is to make obviously the most safe, sustainable, and secure chain frankly that's out there. At least from like an off-chain labs perspective. Like I think it's very easy to just like kind of come up with new ideas, push them out, and just kind of I hate to say hope for the best, but really just kind of push things out and not have any accountability behind it. But I think when you're building something long term, that you truly want to be like around for a while, like audits, all that stuff, like really important. Florida, by the way, totally agree. We spoke with them like honestly a little while ago, and they had a workshop with us at some point, explaining their real time kind of tracking. So they're awesome as well. But even too, like the whole idea of like, because I mean, security is obviously that, but it's also decentralizing, as you mentioned, right? So as you guys mentioned, expanding the multi sig and stuff like that, like I think all that stuff is like really important for like a long term sustainable and secure platform for people to use. Like I'll be honest with you, like I feel like I've been in this space since 2017, and just as an example, I always kind of look at like Uniswap to me is like the perfect example of something that's been around for such a long time. Like you said, like never has that any exploits. Like they've just deployed it and that's it. And in a way, I almost think it's like a public good. It's been out for so long that it's just worked, and
Yeah.
like I could totally see a lot of that stuff happening on Arbitrum too, like rating including, right? So I don't know, just my 2 cents there.
Yeah, absolutely. So we are feeling that, for example, when I was working back in Formula One, of course, many engineers wanted to spend the money on making the car faster, but you have to make it reliable too, because otherwise you may have the fastest car, but you may not finish the race. So that's what we want to try at Radiant, to make it as quick as possible, as seamless as possible, yes, but also as safe as possible with all the tech at our disposal currently. So that's pretty much, and it's part of some of the exciting announcements too that we had regarding V2, which we can comment now if you want, Hunter.
Yeah, no, totally, go for it.
Because we were always talking about V2, and of course Aaron has highlighted some key points, and we have also some very important upcoming announcements. Our community was really thrilled to hear about these announcements, and we were encouraging them to tune into this AMA today, because we are officially announcing a few big advisors soon, very very soon. After a real ton of back and forth, V2 is going to have an entirely reworked tokenomic model. Some of the big guidelines were highlighted by Aaron just some minutes ago. Again, all part of sustainability and longevity of the protocol. It's once again the sustainable real yield narrative in the true DeFi 3.0 fashion. By the way, we enjoyed listening to the AMA you had with GMX and Dopex some weeks ago, where you mentioned some of these aspects of sustainable real yields too. And as Aaron was mentioning, we are working with Lido Finance to add collateral support for Wrap State ETH. That will be very exciting in the coming weeks. We will include it within the money markets as part of Lido's L2 rollout initiative. And then something which answers the questions of some of our community members. Radiant has been discussing offering higher LTV, so loan to value, or under collateralized loans with Rochify. Rochify is a decentralized credit economy with non-transferable blockchain native credit scores designed to basically facilitate zero and under collateralized lending. At its core, the protocol leverages on-chain data, machine learning, loan risk management to effectively and profitably facilitate under-collateralized loans via the blockchain, and so that everyone understands why is this interesting for Radiant. Basically, because it enables a subset of our users to access higher LTV loans, which will also increase the protocol revenue for lockers, because basically more people borrowing more money means more interests paid to the protocol and more fees shared with the users. It's very exciting because we have an AMA in our own Twitter Spaces with the CEO of Rochify next week, December 1st at 1 p.m. with Chris Brookins from Rochify. So we encourage everyone also listening today to join us if they are interested in listening more about the options that we're working on for under collateralized lending.
I love it. Wow. So okay. So there are a couple of extra things that I know we wanted to talk about. I'm wondering, we could. Do you want to go through maybe some of your upcoming announcements first, and then talk about some of the other fun stuff next, or
As you want. Absolutely, we are pumped about the announcement, so we can comment more about that if you want, and or else go ahead with other questions, Sandra, as you wish. Go ahead.
all right, screw it. We're gonna save the announcements for later. there's a bunch of fun stuff that I'm sure people want to hear about. I think the first thing was Radiant Defender. Can you explain maybe what that is? Hopefully, I'm not speaking out of turn here by mentioning that. Yeah, please elaborate. What is that?
Yeah, certainly. So I'm sure a bunch of people are like, what are you talking about? Radiant Defender, first off, I'll say it's not related to any of the functions of our DeFi protocol. It's more of an add-on, a new source of utility. So basically, Radiant has been working with this game development company called Wait What Interactive, and we'll be shortly launching a game called Radiant Defender. So this is kind of like a roguelike bullet hell retro style game. I kind of spent a lot of time getting sucked into this game yesterday, and it is something that is available to play right now. Although some of the Radiant utility of it, which I'll get to shortly, is not part of it. So we'll release that information soon, and it's available to just play at radiantarcade.xyz. And you basically avoid monsters from killing your character. You run around, collect experience points, level up. You can select different skills to make you stronger. And then how does this relate to Radiant? So in the future, locked Radiant holders are actually going to be able to be eligible to compete for weekly prizes within Radiant Defender. So again, soft launch is out right now. Go try out the game. Stay tuned for news about Season 1, which is going to involve weekly prizes for locked Radiant holders.
So many questions here. I think, first of all, by the way, game is very fun. I've tried it myself. Speaking from experience, um, it's very interesting. Like the type of, I guess, like I don't even know how to approach this. Okay, so I'll start off with saying that I think when Arbitrum first launched last year, Arbitrum One, we had been DeFi focused that entire time, right? And I mean, even today, frankly, DeFi is a lion's share of what happens on Arbitrum One. But something we noticed is that like a lot of the bigger a lot of the bigger DeFi projects started getting into NFTs, kind of slash gaming. And so it's like I think it's just so cool how like very prominent projects, again, much like Radiant, are able to say like we have this great product already. We're continuing on like innovating it and building on top of it. Obviously, Radiant V2 being the next big thing, but also just saying like, hey guys, something for the community. If you want to kind of just participate even more in Radiant and like in a completely different way, frankly, you can do it through this way, right? I don't know, like I'm sure like you can make the argument that like maybe it's like not like it's not like functional to the core product itself, but in a way I'd argue that it is. Like it just keeps people's attention, it keeps people like motivated within the rating community, and I think it's awesome. To be honest with you.
Yeah, and I agree with you. You know, it's part of Radiant. I was more just getting at that, it doesn't influence like any of the actual functions of the DeFi protocol. And yeah, Radiant has certainly seen other protocols that have added like gaming elements. So Treasure on Arbitrum has been immensely successful. So look up to them quite a bit. And also there are other use cases outside of just decentralized finance. So people are interested in gaming and actually having some type of ownership in that gaming. So it's going to be interesting for folks that are already locking Radiant that can participate in the game. But then it could also be interesting to folks that maybe haven't actually used Radiant, but are curious and interested because of the game. So many different use cases, and we believe it's adding additional utility to the protocol.
In a way, I truly feel like it's like a Trojan horse. It's like you're like Radiant pulling people that wouldn't be pilled otherwise if they weren't interested in DeFi. You know, that's great.
Yeah, yeah, I like that metaphor.
That's great. I think I'm gonna see if I can actually somehow like pin a link to this, by the way, in the space just so people can try it out. But in the meanwhile, though, I think the other thing was, I mean, we can actually probably just jump to upcoming announcements. If you guys, I know obviously you mentioned V2, obviously you just mentioned Defender, but is there anything else that you guys have coming down the pipeline in the next couple months?
Well, basically, as we mentioned before, Hunter, we have several announcements. The big turning point will be, of course, launching V2, which we are very shortly going to announce in the Medium article. As Aaron was saying before, we have the new advisors that are coming in. We have the new collateral support for wrap staked ETH, as we said, and the option of working towards under collateralized loans with Rochify, as I said, that we have next week this AMA with them, and basically the big turning point would be with V2, with this whole DeFi 3.0 and a sustainable real yield narrative. As Aaron was saying before, we are sending hopefully the code to the auditors next week, by the end of next week, and that means that we are very close to being able to publish that post on Medium, describing in detail the whole of the tokenomics that we will be having for V2, which is going to be pretty cool.
I love it. Just a nonstop stream of news and announcements. I think that's the best thing a community can hear in a bear market. Just so you know. So hats off to you guys.
Thanks a lot, and we love to see how active our community is, both on Telegram, on our Telegram channel and Discord channels. They are really very enthusiastic, and of course, even in this bird times, they are really very participative, and this is a huge challenge. So we are really pumped to see the Discourse platform coming, being finally set up and launched soon, so that we can have all the input from the community soon, with their proposals for our new upcoming assets, and so on, and any new exciting ideas. They've been sharing some exciting things and ideas in the community in the past weeks, and we are excited to see them coming as proposals. Basically, as in my role as project manager for the devs team, it's going to be really challenging in the coming months, but we love it. All the good ideas coming from the community.
Awesome. I think before we head over to community questions, um, actually, yeah, if anyone does have any questions, feel free to raise your hand and we'll pull you up. Let's make sure it's radiant related, by the way, please. Um, I did want to mention that we are going to be adding Radiant, or I guess RDNT, right? That's the ticker, to Guild, like the Arbitrum Guild, relatively soon. Kind of like a little coming out party there for V2, I guess you could call it. But just want to make sure we're supporting our ecosystem partners in every way possible. So soon enough, if you're hanging around in the Arbitrum Discord, you'll be able to rock your own kind of Radiant role coming soon. TM.
And thanks a lot for that, Hunter. We really appreciate it.
Truly, the pleasure, honestly, is all ours at the end of the day. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I'll say it on every space, frankly. But I truly feel like Arbitrum scales. Arbitrum only scales as much as the community scales, and obviously, a big part of the community is not only users but the projects that really what make Arbitrum Arbitrum, right? So, frankly, more than happy to do any of that stuff for any partners, especially you guys, 100%, especially you guys.
Yeah, I love one of the metaphor the person you invited from GMX was saying, that we are all blocks building the whole ecosystem. So it's not like one project. We're all blocks contributing to this big thing that we all call DeFi. So that's amazing to be building it with you in Arbitrum.
100% for sure. But yeah, I think we're cool with bringing some people up, right? I think I see a hand raised already. Let me see. Damn, I know this person had their hand raised for a while, so hopefully they're still there. But if you have any questions for the Radiant team, let us know and we'll bring you up. All right. Voltura, do you happen to be there? They're sitting there for a while with their hand raised, so they might have just gone to sleep. Give them another couple seconds just in case. All right, let me. Bam, boom. I actually do have a question here from the community. Um, I think we might have already answered this actually already, but I guess I'll ask it anyway since someone asked. Uh, are there any key differences between Radiant and other existing lending platforms, lending and borrowing platforms on Arbitrum One?
I can take this one. Radiant is a lending and borrowing protocol. There are other competitors in the space, but the things that truly differentiate Radiant to some of those other protocols are the real yield. As I had mentioned, folks that are supporting the protocol and locking the native RDNT token are going to be earning hard assets as 50% of the fees from the folks that are borrowing from the protocol. So there are many other lending and borrowing protocols that do not have this real yield aspect, sharing the revenue with the actual holders in the community. And then two, the other really big differentiator is that this is an omni-chain protocol. So users are able to deposit assets on one chain and borrow them on various other chains. So between those two things, those combined really don't exist, at least as far as I know, in other lending and borrowing protocols on Arbitrum and possibly elsewhere. And of course, there is also a Radiant DAO. Other lending and borrowing protocols have DAOs as well. But I just wanted to mention that because that's one of the core, I'll say like three items that really are the unique aspects that differentiate Radiant.
Actually, if I may ask a follow up to that, I probably should have asked before, but like, when was the DAO actually created? What was it as soon as you guys launched? You guys like kind of launched the DAO alongside that, or was that more recent?
I may need to double check with the team. Yeah, I'll confirm that with you later, Hunter. I'm not sure offhand.
Yeah, no worries. 'Cause I just know that some protocols so I feel like most go the route of doing it afterwards because I'm sure like launching a DAO right away probably is like a little bit stressful, along with building everything at the same time. But yeah, no, totally. Feel free to. But I think that's all I see from my end in terms of hands. So just to kind of close things out in a nice way, for those in the audience who want to kind of be part of the Radiant kind of community DAO, or maybe even contribute in any way, what's the best way for them to do that?
Well, the best way would be to head to our website. So that's app.radiant.capital, and they can start having a feel for the tool, checking the different features that we have, the deposits tab, the lending, the borrowing, sorry, tab, the looping option, the option to manage your Radiant tokens, to stake. We are currently staking in a liquidity pool in Sushi Swap, and basically having a feel for the use of the tool. And it's cool that you can see the amount of, as Aaron was saying before, 50% of the platform fees go to the lenders, and 50% go to the actual people locking and vesting Radiant tokens. So it's cool to see in the platform as soon as you get there, you can see the amount of not only Radiant tokens, but of even more importantly, hard assets that people locking Radiant tokens are receiving. So DAI, USDC, stablecoins, wrap Bitcoin, ETH. So the amount of APR that they are getting from those hard assets that they are receiving, that is one of the strong points that differentiates Radiant from other protocols, as Aaron was mentioning. So I think that would be the best way to like have a feel for the tool. Of course, if they want more information, we have the docs section with all the details and how to submit a proposal, how the token works, tokenomics of the current V1. And the best way is always, like with the Radiant Defender, is always playing the game. In this case, using the tool. That would be my my advice for any of you guys.
Awesome. Again, thank you guys so much for coming on today. Definitely very insightful. Looking forward to V2. And yeah, we'll chat on the next one.
Excellent. Thanks a lot, Hunter, for having us today with your community here in the AMA with Arbitrum. Just to wrap up on the question that you were asking, we've just received a confirmation that we were set up in September 15 as a DAO, and that was when the first proposal, RFP1, the first proposal was ratified and the DAO was formed. So that was already 2-3 months ago. That was when we kicked off as officially as Radiant DAO. Thanks a lot for having had us here. And as I said, tune in for other announcements regarding B2 and the DeFi 3.0 model that we will have, because it's going to be cool. Thanks a lot for having us, Hunter.
Yes, thank you, Isaac, for confirming. Hunter, thank you very much for hosting us. We're very proud to be launching on Arbitrum and being able to have these discussions. So yes, thanks again, everyone, for joining.
Thanks a lot, and thanks to our wonderful team, because I wasn't sure either, so they confirmed it for us. Thanks a lot. Thanks, Hunter.
No worries at all. Appreciate you guys for coming on. Appreciate y'all building, and we'll see you on the next one.
Bye for now.